Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of The Penalty. I'm your host, Trevor Cherney. Thank you so much for joining the show once again. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. Seriously. Happy Thanksgiving to, everyone out there. Look, we all go through tough times, right? And in those tough times, I think it's important to realize, and to be thankful about certain things in our life, from time to time. And I certainly have a lot to be thankful for. I'm sure other people do too. So, it's the time of giving as well. Just happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. I know that's tomorrow. I'm certainly excited, for various reasons. One is football, and two is obviously for the food. There's really not much else that really can make you more happier than football and food. So it's a perfect mix. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there, first and foremost. And today, what we have planned, simple, but yet it's simple, but yet but there's still a lot to talk about and still discuss. So. Obviously, we're talking about Lions and Packers and, what could be at stake for that game. And then we're getting to, obviously, Michigan, Ohio State, since that's the big game of the weekend. Obviously, it's one of the biggest matchups that you can get, obviously. So, obviously, Ohio State and Michigan have played – both have played pretty well, so for the most part. But we'll get into that a little later. But obviously, we saw the first and foremost talk about the Detroit Lions facing the Green Bay Packers on Thanksgiving, of course. Here's the thing. Now, Lions last week, they almost lost to the Giants, and honestly, they in all honesty. They didn't deserve to win that game. They played sloppy. They played messy at times. There were a lot of blown assignments on defense that day. Look, again, sure, it happens sometimes when you run into a team that has nothing to play for, right? Like the Giants, they have nothing to play for at this point. They fired their head coach. They fired the defensive coordinator right after the game. And I tell you the truth, I don't like their GM, Joe Schoen, very much. His draft history has been suspect at best. So, look, the Giants, I thought they played harder than us, or harder than the Lions. It did on Sunday. And it just wasn't a very good performance by the Lions, to be completely honest. I thought for majority of that game, the Lions got manhandled on several plays on offense and defense, and on the line of scrimmage. And here's the thing that scares me about this game. That Packers defensive line is no joke. Micah Parsons is actually really, really, really good. Actually, he's great. He's an explosive pass rusher. He's basically somebody who is see ball, get ball, right? He's a pure pass rusher as you can get, right? Now, the downside of that is that the run defense is, well, there's a lot to be desired there for Micah Parsons. But besides that, there's no question his pass rushing ability is phenomenal, and it's one of the best in the NFL. If not top three, honestly. Just as a pure pass rusher, he's always somebody to look out when when you're facing him and out in the field. So you gotta look out for that. And then look on the flip side for the Lions defensive line. I'm sorry, guys, but it's not great. Their front four is not good. Now, their front seven, okay, is good at times when they actually get a home at the quarterback. But Yeah, but the problem is your four-man pass rush is pretty much non-existent, and you pretty much have to blitz if you want to get any semblance of pressure. See, that's the thing that people don't understand is there is a difference between sending all 7 of your guys after a quarterback, right, and trying to overload the line of scrimmage, right, against that offensive line, and then having to pass or only having to, send 4 guys instead of 7, right? So then you can drop 7, right, into the secondary. So, and look, I mean, here's the thing. That's on Brad Holmes. I don't get how you can trust Marcus Davenport at all. I mean, the guy gets out of bed hurt. Josh Pascal has been non-existent. Like, is he still here? He is, but the things are not looking good for his history of injuries. And look, Hutch is a very good player. Okay. But he's not Myles Garrett. He can't just take over that entire defensive line himself, right? This is not who he is. Again, he's a very good player, and I'm glad he's here, but he's not like elite. He's very good. He can be great, but when up against better protection and better tackles, Hutchins doesn't play his best. I'm just saying. Like, don't, please. I know Michigan fans are waiting to, ready to say some words to me. But, no, look, here's the thing. I mean, that's why you need to have insurance. That's why you needed to add another pass rusher at a deadline. And they didn't do that. And why they didn't do that, it will never, ever, ever, I mean, I'll never understand why they didn't do it. Never. They should have gone out there and got somebody like Jalen Phillips, who's playing awesome for the Eagles right now. That could have been you. And instead, we got Ali McNeil trying to become an edge rusher. And look, Ali McNeil is a really good player, okay? He's not an edge rusher, all right? He's a pure interior player. All right, I get why they try and put him at edge rusher, but it's not going to work out. He's not that kind of. He's not built that way. He's an interior line guy. That's who he is. Like, let's not make him into something that he's not. Okay, like he's a really good player, but I don't know why. I mean, again, this is why you needed to add pieces and see. That's the thing, I don't know what's going to happen the rest of the season for the Lions, right? And anything could happen, right? But their failure to add in that offensive line and that failure to add the defensive line is really going to haunt them, and especially Brad Holmes. So, look, and honestly, I don't think the Packers are that much of a better team, right? And honestly, I should be like, hey, they're going to, Lions going to come in, take care of business at home, beat the Pack, and then, move on from there. But unfortunately, I don't know what's going to happen. But I do lean Lions for this one because it is at home, and I don't trust the Green Bay offense whatsoever. Now, look, they might have, a really good. I mean, again, something Green Bay does have is a really, really good defense. That defensive line is ferocious, especially with Micah Parsons. Not even a question. But that offense is definitely suspect. But that offense can hurt you though, and especially if you can generate pressure by just and if you have to constantly blitz to even get pressure and try to get home. I mean, I don't know. You're probably gonna be in for a long day. Look, this is not a good matchup for the Lions' offensive line or defensive line. Well, maybe a better matchup on their defensive line because the Packers do have injuries on the O-line, so and they're sort of banged up there. So yeah. But yeah, like I said, I do lean Lions though, simply for the fact that they're at home. They lost the first time around. I would imagine that they certainly not only want to win this game, they need to win this game. Like, if the Lions want any hope of at least getting to the playoffs, pretty easily, they have to win this game, right? And if they want any chance to win their division, this is a must-win game. If you lose this game, you can kiss the division goodbye. It's either going to be Green Bay or, God forbid, the Chicago Bears. Who gets that? Who gets the division? And that's something that you don't want to happen. So I do lean Lions because I do think this is a must-win game. And look, if you lose this game, there's not many more chances. I mean, currently they're not even in the playoffs. They're not. Not in the current NFC playoff picture. They're not in it. So they're definitely going to have to step their game up. Certainly. But I will take the Lions in this spot because they are favored to win. Granted, it's only 2.5, but they are favored to win. And it's at home. So they lost the first time around. I mean, if they lose this game, that's going to seriously not only hurt that. I mean, you can kiss the division goodbye. That's going to seriously hurt their playoff chances as well. So, it honestly is pretty much almost a must-win game for the Lions. So, but I'm going to the Lions there. Alrighty, so let's move on to the big game of the weekend. If you're, especially a Michigan fan, Michigan versus Ohio State, also known as the game. So, look, it's no secret, right? Michigan has pretty much owned Ohio State for the past 4 years. Let's be honest here. And this is coming from a Michigan State fan, right? But it's no secret. I mean, Michigan has really owned Ohio State for the past 4 years. And, I mean, at some point you have to wonder, how long can they keep this up for? How long can they keep this winning streak up for? Because at some point you have to imagine, okay, well, something has to crack, So, and look, this year it's not evenly matched because I think Ohio State on paper is a better team overall. They got the better quarterback. They got the better receivers. They got the better offensive line. They got the better defense. Yes, their defense is better, okay? Do you realize right now that in the country, they are first in scoring, second in pass defense, or I'm sorry, first in passing defense, and then second in run defense? That's really good. I mean, to be top 3 in 3 major spots, as in scoring, passing defense, and run defense, is incredible. And it's a testament to their defensive coordinator. Yes, the guy with a pencil in his ear who wears a muumuu on the field, Matt Patricia, as we all know. Wouldn't that be hilarious if Michigan lost to Ohio State? So we could just keep the joke running. Well, anything Matt Patricia touches Michigan just turns to just absolute garbage. So it's that would be kind of hilarious if that happened. But I don't know. Look, I can't firmly say that I'm confident that Ohio State is going to win. Yes, I do lean towards that they're going to win, but I'm not going to say they're confident they're going to win, right? And I think there's a difference between confident and leaning towards, who I think is going to win. I lean towards the Ohio State, obviously. Like I said, they got a better quarterback. I mean, just in comparison with quarterbacks, Julian Sain this year has been playing excellent all year long. He has a 185 rating on the year. with over 2,800 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 4 picks. Bryce Underwood has a 135 rating with 2,100 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. So, I mean, just quarterbacks alone, right? Julian Sain is better than Bryce Underwood. And that's no smear against Bryce. Obviously, Bryce is younger than Julian is. And he didn't sit for a year like Julian Sain did. But still, we're just comparing head-to-head matchups, right? These are two quarterbacks that are facing each other, right? Certainly, I mean, Julian Sain has been my favorite quarterback all year long in college. And look, I think he might do some good things. I don't know, but this is a true testament to Julian Sain and what he can do, right? Because this Michigan team, while they're not, I wouldn't call them great, but they're feisty and they're good. Like, they will play you tooth and nail. So, I can't really look at Michigan and be like, well, they're just, good. Ohio State is going to be slapping around Michigan, for 60 minutes. That's not going to happen. It might happen, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a close game, but I do lean towards Ohio State winning this game. I do expect them to win this game because at some point they just got to win one of these games. Like, Ryan Day can't keep losing Michigan. Like, he might lose his job over that, which I don't know what's going to happen, but, we'll see. I don't think they're gonna fire him this year if he loses Michigan again. But next year, though, who knows? Especially if they don't make a deep playoff run too this year, yeah, then we'll see what happens then. But but yeah, I mean, look, I know people will say, oh well, Ohio State really hasn't faced anybody. They face a cupcake schedule. And they're not wrong by saying that because Ohio State really hadn't faced anybody all year long. But who has Michigan faced too? Like, yeah, they played Oklahoma, which they lost. They played USC. They got blown out. Like, any team that Michigan has played with a pulse has lost. Now, I'm not going to say this is going to happen this game, or at least lose badly, because, they can actually go head-to-head with Ohio State because whenever they play Ohio State, it's just a different mode that they play on, right? Like, they have the dial all the way turned up playing against Ohio State. So, which is how they've been able to win all these years. The past couple of years, this and that. So, yeah, but it's a huge matchup. And look, if they want to get in the playoffs, they're going to have to win this game. And even if they do win this game, there's no guarantee that they're going to be in the playoffs, right? Now, they may make it, but who knows? Ohio State, if they lose this game, it won't hurt them much. I don't expect them to get a first-round bye at that point, but that's all they're losing. They won't be losing much if they lose this game. So, really, not much is at stake for Ohio State, but much more is at stake for Michigan, which again, look, if Michigan won this game, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be shocked. This game go either way. It's a bit of a toss-up, but again, I'm just leaning towards Ohio State because overall, on paper, they have the better team. And I would argue they got a better coach as well. I don't think Sherrod Moore is that great of a coach. But hey, if he can outcoach Ryan Day, it will certainly go a long way. So, and certainly he could. I'm not saying he can. He certainly could. He did last year, and he could do it again this year. So who knows? And is at the big house too. So again, if Michigan ended up winning this game, I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't. So, but again, on paper, Ohio State is just the better team. So, but of course that's on paper. Yeah. Anyways, that will be it. So we will actually have an episode on Sunday posted. So, and it's a bit of a wonky schedule because of the holidays and whatnot. So, I want to get this out before obviously the holiday weekend and whatnot. So then, and then on Sunday we'll look at Lions and Packers and what happened there. We'll look at Ohio State and Michigan, and maybe we'll see what else there is to that too. But yeah, everyone have a safe and happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. And enjoy the long weekend. I know a lot of you deserve it out there, so enjoy the long weekend. And yeah, have a great one. I'll see you guys next week.